Taiwan envoy calls U.S. tax treatment unfair. Possible Putin trip to BRICS summit in the works. Lula's call for South American unity faces opposing views on Venezuela. U.S. complains of unsafe and aggressive move by Chinese fighter jet. Germany orders Russia to close 4 out of its 5 consulates. Twitter is now worth just 33% of Elon Musk's purchase price. Each cigarette will now have a warning label in Canada. Temperatures to plunge to record lows in Australia.
Hello, I'm Johnny. Thank you for joining us on Funday News. It's Thursday, June 1st, and here are your top stories. Taiwan's de facto ambassador to the U.S., Xiao Big-Kim, criticized the lack of a deal between Taipei and Washington to prevent double taxation, saying Taiwanese firms, including world-beating chip makers such as TSMC, find it very problematic and an obstacle in expanding their further investments in the U.S. At an event hosted by the Christian Science Monitor news organization on Tuesday, Xiao said, Taiwan is the only top 10 trading partner of the United States that does not have a tax agreement that prevents double taxation.
Thank you, Karen, for that kind introduction. And also thank you to the Honorable Chair Stuart Adams for hosting this wonderful event here.
The de facto ambassador said, as a result, Taiwanese companies, including many of them in the semiconductor industry that are investing here in the United States, are paying a lot more taxes than other foreign investors here in the United States. And this is unfair. She added, Taiwan hopes that this agreement will lay the groundwork for a more comprehensive agreement in the future, demonstrating our commitment to high standards in trade and opening the door to agreements with other like-minded trading partners.
Russian and Chinese foreign ministers are expected to meet with their counterparts from the BRICS economic bloc in Cape Town on Thursday, a precursor to a larger summit in South Africa in August that Russian President Vladimir Putin may attend while under indictment by the International Criminal Court. South Africa has suggested without saying explicitly that it won't arrest Putin if he travels for the main BRICS summit in Johannesburg, despite being obliged to do so as a signatory to the ICC's Rome Treaty.
While South Africa hasn't yet stated its official position with regard to the arrest warrant for Putin, its foreign ministry said on Tuesday that those traveling for Thursday's meeting of BRICS foreign ministers and the leaders who attend the main summit in 3 months' time would be afforded standard diplomatic immunity. But its foreign ministry spokesman Clayson Monyela said the privileges do not override any warrant that may have been issued by any international tribunal against any attendee of the conference.
Divergent views on Venezuela surfaced during a South American leaders summit on Tuesday, hosted by Brazil's President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva as part of his efforts to unite the region's development and give it a stronger voice internationally. Lula urged the 12 countries to overcome ideological differences that have divided the region and join efforts toward more economic, cultural, and social integration. However, Lula's embrace of Venezuela's Nicolas Maduro as a democratically elected leader was criticized.
Lula told reporters on Monday that the image of an anti-democratic Venezuela was a narrative. On Tuesday, Uruguayan President Luis Lacalle Pou challenged Lula's comments directly. He said, "I was surprised when you said that what happened in Venezuela is a narrative." Chilean President Gabriel Boric later told journalists, "It's not a narrative construction. It is a reality, it is serious." He pointed to the 5,000 Venezuelan refugees that live in Chile, who demand that human rights must always be respected.
The U.S. military said Tuesday that a Chinese fighter jet flew aggressively close to a U.S. reconnaissance aircraft over the South China Sea, forcing the American pilot to fly through the turbulent wake. U.S. Indo-Pacific Command said in a statement the Chinese J-16 fighter pilot flew directly in front of the nose of the RC-135, which was conducting routine operations in international airspace last Friday. The command called the Chinese move an unnecessarily aggressive maneuver.
In a statement released on Tuesday, the U.S. Indo-Pacific Command said America will continue to fly, sail, and operate safely and responsibly wherever international law allows, and expects all other countries to do the same. U.S. defense leaders have complained that China's military has become significantly more aggressive over the past 5 years. China frequently challenges military aircraft from the U.S. and its allies, especially over the strategically vital South China Sea, which China claims in its entirety.
I always needed time on my own. I never thought I'd be here.
I take your blessings with your heartaches too. It's so easy and so wonderful to know it's you.
学习，一切从今天开始。Funday 英语。
The German government said Wednesday that it has told Russia to close 4 out of its 5 consulates general in Germany in a tit-for-tat move after Moscow set a limit for the number of staff at the German embassy and related bodies in Russia. German Foreign Ministry spokesperson Christopher Berger told reporters in Berlin that the measure was intended to create a parity of personnel and structures between the two countries. Russia has consulates in Bonn, Frankfurt, Hamburg, Leipzig, and Munich.
The Russian government recently said that an upper limit of 350 German government officials, including those working in cultural bodies and schools, can remain in Russia. Berger said that this means Germany will have to shut its consulates in Yekaterinburg, Novosibirsk, and Kaliningrad by November. Only the embassy in Moscow and the consulate in St. Petersburg will remain open. He said that Russia will be allowed to continue operating the embassy in Berlin and one further consulate after the end of the year.
According to Fidelity, Twitter is now worth just 1/3 of what Elon Musk paid for the social media platform. It's unclear how Fidelity arrived at its new, lower valuation or whether it received any non-public information from the company. Fidelity first reduced the value of its Twitter stake in November to 44% of the purchase price. That was followed by further markdowns in December and February. More recently, Elon Musk said Twitter is worth less than half what it paid for it.
Musk bought Twitter for $44 billion. After saddling the company with $13 billion of debt, Musk's erratic decision-making and challenges with content moderation led advertising revenue to decline by 50%. According to the Bloomberg Billionaires Index, Musk's investment in Twitter is now worth $8.8 billion. The latest markdown erases about $850 million from Musk's $187 billion fortune. But Musk's wealth is up more than $48 billion this year, largely due to a 63% surge in Tesla Inc.'s share price.
Canada will soon become the first country in the world where warning labels must appear on individual cigarettes. The regulations take effect August 1st and will be phased in. King-size cigarettes will be the first to feature the warnings and will be sold in stores by the end of July 2024, followed by regular-sized cigarettes and little cigars with tipping paper and tubes by the end of April 2025. The warnings in English and French include poison in every puff, tobacco smoke harms children, and cigarettes cause impotence.
The move was first announced last year by Health Canada and is aimed at helping people quit the habit. Health Canada said the strategy aims to reduce tobacco use below 5% by 2035. New regulations also strengthen health-related graphic images displayed on packages of tobacco. Mental Health and Addictions Minister Carolyn Bennett announced Wednesday, this bold step will make health warning messages virtually unavoidable. She said tobacco use kills 48,000 Canadians every year.
Abnormally low temperatures have left Australians shivering through endless cold nights as some cities experience one of the iciest Mays on record. In NSW and Queensland, the average temperature has consistently set at minus 3.5 degrees Celsius. Ipswich and Bully's average monthly temperatures reached a measly 5.2 degrees Celsius. In Sydney, the average minimum temperature at Observatory Hill up to 9 a.m. on May 30th was just 10 degrees Celsius, 1.6 degrees Celsius below average. It was the harbour city's lowest May minimum temperature since 1957.
Temperatures in the western suburbs dropped even lower, with Richmond Airport recording an average monthly minimum of 4.4 C, the lowest since 1957. NSW suburbs, including Camden and Tybooburra, also recorded their coldest mornings for the month in 12 years, with minimum recorded temperatures of minus 1.2 C and 3.8 C respectively. The temperature dropped to 1.1 C by 5:30 a.m. in Perth, marking the coldest May morning the area has experienced in 59 years.
Now let's take a look at the vocabulary of the news of Germany ordering Russia to close 4 consulates. Number 1, tit for tat, 以牙还牙，针锋相对. The two countries engaged in a tit-for-tat trade war, imposing tariffs on each other's goods. Number 2, parity, 平等均衡. Prison officers are demanding pay parity with the police force. Number 3, consulate, 领事馆. If you lose your passport while traveling abroad, contact the nearest consulate of your home country for assistance. And that's all for today's Funday News. Be sure to tune into Funday News from Monday to Friday and click the link below to join Funday for free. I'm Johnny Wu, your host. I'll see you next time.